Manchester United 3, Saint Etienne 0. If you ever wanted to know what the difference between Manchester United and Arsenal is, you've just seen it tonight. That's what it is. It's very, very simple. It all comes down to this. Manchester United can play not particularly well and beat somebody 3-0 in Europe, and Arsenal can just get absolutely battered. And there's a world of difference between Bayern Munich and Saint Etienne. I totally agree with you. But it's winning well when you're not playing well that is the definition of a decent side and a bottling side. And Manchester United were always superb at that under Sir Alex Ferguson. He understood European football. It's very, very different. Pogba was superb tonight. He's not really been superb in the Premier League because he's getting used to the Premier League, because the Premier League is very different to Europe. However, Pogba and the great player we signed in Pogba has been brought up on European football, playing in Italy, but also playing regularly in European football. He's used to it and he shines in it. On the other hand, you have Bailly, who's been fantastic in the Premier League, but not so good tonight in Europe. They are two very different things, and they will both get used to the other. Pogba will become brilliant in the Premier League, and Bailly will get used to European football and be brilliant in that. But they are poles apart. Premier League, we live in a bubble in the Premier League. We live in a bubble because we think because it's the best brand, it's the best league. And that's not necessarily the case. It isn't the case. It's not necessarily the case. It isn't the case. And Sir Alex Ferguson was an absolute legend at, being very successful in the Premier League, but also being very good in Europe as well. And it's been reflected tonight in the way that Manchester United played. Jose Mourinho is exactly the same. He knows how to do it. He does it very, very well. And we certainly did do it very well tonight. Let me just get the live comments up for you there. But the great thing about this is that for me, Manchester United weren't good tonight. They weren't good tonight, but we've just won that game. Can we get in the top four, win the League Cup, win the FA Cup, and win the Europa League? It's a big ask. There's 11 games in the Europa League. Well, there's 10 now. There's 13 left in the Premier League. They're virtually the same, and I think the Premier League is the easier one to go for, because the Europa League, it's a one-shot lottery. You've got to go all the way to the final and win it to get that Champions League place. Rome have just won 4-0 against Villarreal away from home. They're a threat. Schalke are a threat. Lyon are a threat. Atletico Bilbao are a threat. It's not going to be very easy. But Spurs lost in Genk, which just backs up again what I've said. The Premier League is an embarrassment in Europe in general. Whether it's the Champions League or the Europa League, it's an embarrassment. So people can say, oh, United were lucky tonight and we didn't play that very well. I don't actually think it is down to luck. I think it's down to the fact that you don't have to play well to win. But Mourinho understands what European football's about. And at its basic level, whether we win the Europa League or not, I would like us to stay in it for as long as possible, because I think what we will learn from playing European opposition over the next few weeks that we can take into the Champions League next year is invaluable for these players. Because English clubs are an embarrassment in Europe, and I don't think we will be when we get back into the Champions League. Zlatan, was he my man of the match? Nowhere near. I have to admit, with the Zlatan doubters, and it's ridiculous to say this because I'm a massive Zlatan fan, he's just scored a hat-trick. That is why Zlatan is an amazing signing, because he didn't play well tonight, but he scored a hat-trick. And again, it epitomises what I've just said. Football is not about playing well 66 games a season and winning things. It's about getting results when you don't play well and being clinical when you don't play well. And Zlatan Ibrahimovic was clinical tonight. The first goal was comical. If you didn't see it, it was just comical. And watch it back. A free kick that he dived for. He hits the free kick. It hits the bottom of the wall. The keeper sort of dives over. He's got a million years to get up and dive back onto it, but he thinks the defender's going to get it, and the defender thinks the goalie's going to get it, and it rolls in, and you think the referee's blown it back because it's just such a comical goal. Most goalkeepers come to Manchester United and play like Superman. This one was like Banana Man, although he played quite well after that. But the two goals after that, they're clinical. Rashford just bursts into the box. This is what you can have off the bench. Bursts into the box, cut back. Zlatan scores. And then a penalty. Well, Saint Etienne, yes, they should have had a penalty in the first half. Let the haters hate. We should have had loads of penalties this year. Boo-hoo. That's football. We did get a penalty today. Surprise, surprise, it was in Europe and not in England, where we've got the anti-FA Mourinho, where we don't get them. Zlatan steps up, gets a hat-trick. It's game over. There's no away goal for Saint Etienne. Yes, they can beat us next weekend, next Wednesday. But are they going to get 4 goals without reply? Not in a million years. We're through to the next stage. So very, very excited. Very, very happy. It makes it exciting next week because we might play a few fringe players. We're not going to get beat 4-0 by Saint Etienne in a million years. And yeah, just very, very happy with it. Richie CR's contributed to the channel on the live super chat. A couple of dollars there. Thanks, Richie. He says Mark, Smalling and Pogba were brilliant today. Thank you. I think he's named 3 players there. Me, Smalling and Pogba were brilliant today. I'm joking. I know he's saying Mark, Smalling and Pogba were brilliant today. Smalling, I like Smalling, and Pogba was just brilliant today. And I think I was really, really liked Pogba today because it's not rocket science. I hope all the great pundits who get paid hundreds of thousands of pounds a year will figure it out. It's very, very simple. I said it a few minutes ago. Pogba has been brought up on European football at Juventus. When he plays in European football, it's different to the Premier League. It's not as fast-paced. It's more technical. He shines. In the Premier League, he's got people. It's playground football. It's 100 miles an hour. It's physical. It's bombard you. It's not technical, and he's working to get used to that. But you put him in the European stage where it's more technical, a little bit slower. He stands out. He's fantastic. It's always the risk. You know, we could say Griezmann get into England and all this, that, and that, but it's a different game. It's not technically great. It gets exposed in Europe. The way we play football in the Premier League gets exposed in Europe. But in the Premier League, you haven't got a European side there, so you play against what you play against, and that's what we gauge it. We live in our own little bubble, and it is entertaining. Adam Fitz says, the King in the North. Hat-trick hero. Let's talk about the individual performances. Zlatan wouldn't be anywhere near man of the match for me. But signing of the season, he's got to be one of the signings of the season when you're looking outside. Just so many goals, and the tie is over. Clinical. You know what I would say about Zlatan, I'm a big fan of his, but I have been saying this consistently, and I do agree with people. What I don't like about the Zlatan Ibrahimovic position, and it might come back to bite us at some point, it didn't tonight, is he didn't play particularly well today. He never gets subbed. We're Manchester United, we're not Zlatan Ibrahimovic. It's very funny when he's arrogant and I'm Zlatan and this, that and the other, and I don't follow anybody apart from somebody who's sponsoring me, paying loads of money because I'm Zlatan and I'm arrogant. And it's brilliant. Brilliant. Mourinho's arrogant. Cantona was arrogant. If you're good enough and you're arrogant, it's fantastic. But what I don't like is somebody who's never gets subbed. I don't like somebody who's never going to get subbed. For the simple reason, it's predictable. If you're the opposition, you know he's never going to get subbed. And we've got to be a little bit better than that. And Manchester United, even Ronaldo gets subbed. We should sub people. On today's performance, we shouldn't have subbed him because he went and scored 2 goals. And there is no... But it worries me a little bit that you know every single game, no matter how he plays, he won't get subbed. Some people will say quite rightly, why would you sub somebody who's going to score goals at any given time? And you know what? That's a valid argument. It's all about opinion. Performance-wise, Romero, 6. I thought he looked a bit dodgy at times, but he didn't let any goals in. Valencia, probably one of his... Some people say he was really good, but actually, positionally, he was very bad. So I'd give him a 7. Very, very good performance going forward, but we were getting caught out, especially in the first half, a lot down the right, so a 7. Daley Blind on the other side, a 7 again. Better than Leicester last weekend, but... not Leicester, Watford, but not brilliant, 7. Smalling, 8, very good. Bay, probably his worst performance, but he was better in the second half, and he did make a very good block in the first half, so I would give him a 7. I don't really want to give anyone a 6 tonight because I think, give him the benefit of the doubt, I think they started the game. You know, Mourinho does a press conference yesterday, says we don't want to be in this tournament, but we're going to try, but it's not a priority. It's impossible in life, if your boss is saying we're not really bothered about this, to not psychologically just drop off a little bit, and I think we did. And then he bollocked them at half-time. So I don't want to be critical of the players when the manager sort of set the tone yesterday. Herrera, fantastic. He would be my man of the match. I think he ran the game. I do. I think Herrera ran the game. I'd give him a 9. Subtle, again, like Watford last week. It's the way Carrick used to play. He was just ran the game. Pogba, I give an 8.5. I thought he was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But I would give it to Herrera because I always like to give it to the person who, you know, the unsung hero, and I thought he was fantastic tonight, Herrera. But if you gave it to Pogba, I don't disagree. Fellaini, I've got to give him a bad score. I'm not a Fellaini fan. I like wearing the wig. It makes me feel empowered. But he nearly scored a great goal that was offside. But apart from that, the warning sign when the team news came out, we were talking about that on the watch-along, he'll make us slow in the midfield. We were slow in the midfield. They were cutting through the midfield. Herrera and Pogba were getting stretched. Fellaini's not a starter for me. I think last 20 minutes, last 10 minutes, the way he was playing today, where he gets up and supports Zlatan, it's brilliant in the last 10, 20 minutes. You never should start a game with Fellaini. You've got nowhere to go if it goes wrong, apart from taking him off, and then you haven't got him in the last few minutes if you need it. So Fellaini, I don't really want to. I'd like to give him a 6, but it was a 5, let's be honest. Martial, I thought Martial was fantastic tonight. When he was given the ball, he was fantastic. We just didn't get the ball to him quick enough. But when he had the ball, brilliant. He's our best flair player. I've said it so much. I just think brilliant performance from Martial when he got the ball. Yes, he's a little bit raw. Yes, he doesn't pass it sometimes. Yes, his finishing can do a little bit better. But he's so exciting, and he was tearing them apart when he got the ball. We just didn't get in the ball enough. So I'll give Martial an 8, comfortable 8. Zlatan's got to get an 8 because he scored a hat-trick. I don't think it was his best performance, but you get a hat-trick, you should get man of the match. But he wasn't man of the match. Herrera and Pogba were better, but an 8 for Zlatan, clinical. You can't. Those people who you just can't criticise the bloke. His goals to game ratio is fantastic. I said that when we signed him. He's a goal every other game at least. He's probably better than that now. People were saying he wasn't going to get 20 goals. You're an idiot. He's 35 years of age, and his whole career he's been a goal every other game man. That was never going to stop. Yes, he plays games like tonight where he doesn't play that well, but he's still got a hat-trick. His goals to game ratio is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. 8 out of 10. Mata, not his best game. Missed the sitter in the first half. Wasn't at the races today. Probably missed Mkhitaryan. I'll give him a 7. Rashford, short cameo, but made a massive difference. I give him an 8. That second goal, he deserves an 8 just for the second goal because he bursts in. It's a cut back to Zlatan, who's got to tap it home, to be fair. But 1-0 is not a good result to take to St Etienne. They played well tonight. They'd have fancied it at 1-0. 2-0 basically made it very comfortable for us. 3-0 killed it. So Rashford gets an 8 just for that. Lingard picked up a yellow card for a silly tackle. He's a squad player, isn't he? Disappointed we didn't see Schweinsteiger. Don't understand why we don't see Schweinsteiger. Would like to have seen a bit of Luke Shaw as well, to be honest. Fosu Mensah. But I'm going to withdraw all that negativity until Sunday because we're playing Blackburn. I expect to see Schweinsteiger start, Luke Shaw start, Fosu Mensah start. If we don't see them start, we've got every right to have a moan. But let's hold back on that till Sunday because there's an opportunity there. There may even be an opportunity next Wednesday because this tie is done and dusted, folks. 3-0. No away goals conceded. We go to St Etienne. To knock us out, they've got to beat us 4-0 with that, 4 goals without reply. Not going to happen. We're into the next stage of the Europa League. I know I've been a little bit concerned about the Europa League because I don't think it's a massive, massive effort of the squad to be playing Europa League, Premier League, FA Cup all the way till May. It is a massive effort. It's like winning a treble, but a crap treble because in fact, it's harder because it's a quadruple in a way, but without getting a Champions League or the Premier League. So it's a massive effort to do it. But selfishly, I hope it lasts as long as possible because I like European football. I know it's not the Champions League, but I like European football. I like testing ourselves against different countries, different tactics. It's a different world to the Premier League. And Arsenal live in this Premier League bubble where they always get 4th. And other teams like Spurs, they'll live in this. Well, let's get knocked out of Europe so we can focus on the top 4 to get in the Champions League and then get embarrassed in Europe next year. What we're doing is quite intelligent. We're going for top 4, but we're also sampling Europe because we know that sampling Europe will stand us in better stead next year when we go for the Champions League. It's intelligent. So I want us to stay in the Europa League for as long as possible. I hope we get easier ties. I hope there are some tough teams left in the Europa League, but if we can avoid them until the latter stages and see what's happening in the Premier League, that will suit us better. We want a comfortable tie in the next round, and that's not arrogant. This tie is done. It's done and dusted. 3-0. It's done. So very, very happy with the result. Yes, there's aspects of the performance that weren't great, but I think you've got to give the players a bit of leeway. The manager came out yesterday and he was quite negative about this tournament, and I think that transmitted to the players at times. But we came out with a 3-0 win. We could have played them off the park tonight and got 3-0 and gone, wow, that's amazing. We didn't. We won badly, in a way. But there were some great performances. Herrera, Pogba, Zlatan got a hat-trick. Martial, when he was given the ball, was great. I thought Smalling played well. He's 3 games in a row for Smalling. Exactly what he needs. If Mourinho can turn Jones and Rojo into good defenders. He can turn Smalling into a great defender because Smalling is better than those two. So lots and lots of positives. Thanks everyone for watching. Please do drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're live tomorrow night at 8:30 with a preview for the Blackburn game, which will be very interesting because we're going to be talking about how we should be lining up. I don't want to see anyone from tonight. I want to see the reserves. That's the way we should be going for it. So really interested to see that. Richard Stainer's just made a $5 contribution. He said, Europa gives us trophy plus Champions League. Quality in Europa not as strong as league games we have left. Top 4 is not good enough for us. We're not Arsenal. Interesting. He wants us to go for the Europa League. I personally think that the Premier League is top 4 in the Premier League is easier for the simple reason you've got to win. You've got to basically win 10 games in the Europa League and win the final. You know, you can't afford an off day. We could get all the way to the Europa League final playing fantastic and then not turn up. And it's all for nothing, like Liverpool last year. The Premier League, you've got to just get yourself in that top 4 and get enough points to stay there. We can do both, but the Premier League's the safer bet for Champions League, I believe. But I want us to carry on in the Europa League because I enjoyed it tonight. I enjoyed playing European opposition. You know, we talk about all these European transfers that we want to make. I'd love us to play Roma. Let's play Manolas. Let's look how good he really is. It's exciting. I enjoyed it. Tonight, and long may it continue. Thanks for watching. I'll speak to you all tomorrow at 8:30. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We're into the next round of the Europa League. It's not premature to say that. We comfortably will be. Thanks for watching. Speak to you all soon. Fantastic comments as per usual. Brilliant on the watch along. And as George Carl says, great result despite poor overall performance. There's 8 games left in the Europa League apparently now. I thought there was 10. We'll have to check on that. Thanks for watching. See you all tomorrow.